Hi, this is Mr. Zarzak. I'm one of the physics teachers at Glenbard West High School, and in this video tutorial, I'm going to show you how conceptual physics organizes information on Schoology. So let's jump over to Schoology right now. Okay, and the first thing you're going to notice is that in terms of resources, we use the conceptual physics group. So your students should have already joined this group. So if you haven't done so, please join the conceptual physics group because that's where you're going to get all your information. It's also a good place to look for updates that pertain to everybody that's in physics. Okay, so I'm going to go and I'm going to click on resources. Okay, and then the organization, the first thing that you're always going to see right at the very top is the unit plan. So I'm going to start with that, and then I'll show you how we organize resources within the folders. So if I click that link here, this is going to open up unit plan. All right, so this is our basic calendar. Okay, so what we're primarily interested in is these first two columns that take us through day by day what we're going to do. So in the very first column here, okay, so here I'm looking at Wednesday. It's just going to give you a brief overview of what we're going to do in class, and then down at the bottom, if there's ever any homework assigned, it'll be there in bold and italicized in that kind of a reddish brown color. Peeking out a little bit farther through the unit plan as well, if there's something that's coming due, okay, that's the first thing we're going to list. So we see that on Thursday, students are supposed to have their syllabus and safety contract turned into their instructor. Okay, so again, I'm looking at the top and the bottom of the description to see, hey, if there's something coming due or if there's something that's assigned. Okay, whenever there's like a special event, like an assessment or a lab, we try to put those in different colors as well to make them stand out. So here on Friday, we have this bus lab. And if there's ever a video on our YouTube channel that's associated with something that we're doing, okay, that's linked in there as well. So you can actually click those links and it would take you to YouTube. So those are additional resources that we want. Now, as far as the second column goes, you notice that there's this student materials. This is the other thing that we're interested in. And so these would be things that are, say, handed out in class and things that we work on. Okay, so these are things that students have access within the folders within specific units in Schoology. Our folders are color-coded, okay, and so I've color-coded the materials as well to make things easier to find. When you're first looking at this, okay, it can seem a little daunting, but trust me, there is a method to the madness. So once you've navigated a little bit through how we do things on Schoology, I think you're going to find that this is really helpful. Okay, so I'm going to go back to Schoology here. All right, and if I scroll down, these are all the different units that we're going to study throughout the year. All right, and so on the day one, we were primarily working in course introduction materials. Okay, I'm going to focus more on in this screencast, though, what we get into when we get into the actual units of study, the things that are specific to physics. Okay, so if I click on Unit 1 Motion, that's our first unit. All right, you'll see that the very first thing is another link to that unit plan. We put the unit plan link that we're working on right at the top of the Schoology group homepage, so that's the first thing that you can click because that's really the first thing that you should look at. Okay, later on when we get to unit number 2, okay, this unit 1 or this unit plan beginning of the year motion up at the very top will be replaced by our vectors unit plan, but it will still be accessible in here if you ever want to go back. All right, looking at these folders, you see that they're color-coded. Now, the color coding does correspond to the colors that are in the unit plan to make it easy. So if the students are expected to take some notes, they're going to go into the student note template. These are files that they'll actually import into Notability, and they'll use to complete guided notes during class time. The next folder, practice files. Okay, so as the name suggests, when we're working out problems for practice to prepare ourselves for assessments, we go in here. Okay, and they'll have these for every single unit. The third folder in blue is student handouts. Okay, anything that gets handed out in class that we do on paper, you're going to find in here. So, oh, I lost my reading guide, I need another copy of this thing, or I want to try this worksheet again. Go ahead and open it up, and you can either do it digitally or print it out, depending upon what your instructor wants. Next down, we have these lecture files. These are the files that the different instructors of physics are actually going to show in class. Now, there's a way to find these on the unit plan as well. I'll show you that at the very end. But if you ever want to look at the complete long files, so these came from things that are kind of like PowerPoint. So if you're looking for really long files that have hundreds of slides, this is where you're going to want to look. All right. When we do labs in class, there's usually something associated that we want the kids to do prior to completing the lab. Sometimes it's a video, sometimes it's slides with tips and hints, sometimes it's both. So that's where you're going to look for here. Likewise, when the data collection is over, we have what's called post-lab slides and post-lab videos. This is another place that you can find tips and hints for formatting your completed labs and for completing the analysis. It's a great resource. Okay, and then finally we have review materials. As we get to the end of the unit, students that are looking for things to study, this is where you're going to want to go. All right, and there's all kinds of different resources, all right, whether it's tips for how to make your note card for the test, keys to the worksheets that we complete in class, learning targets and chunking slides to break down the unit into little morsels that are easy to digest, all right, and to break apart. Okay, there's all kinds of goodies in here as well, all right. The one last little thing I wanted you to see in this tutorial, if I pop back to the unit plan, okay, students are primarily going to be interested in these first two columns right here, which is what are we doing today in class? Is there any homework? Is there anything due? And then what materials do I need? If I scroll over a little bit farther, this column here that I've highlighted in gray for presentation materials, these are the things that an instructor is going to be putting up on the projector for students to see, to use. Great resource to have. All right, what we do is we take notes from lecture files, okay, so that we can whittle down digital content into the most meaningful pieces, all right? But we have so many resources at our fingertips. Why not make the lecture files available to the students too? So whether it's students or parents, they're there for you. This is what's found in the lecture slides. It's a lot of different resources, which is why I've made this video. So I hope you found this useful. All right, good luck with the semester. And if you have any ideas, remember that we're always looking to improve in physics. Really, what matters is that the students learn physics. So if you have any ideas or suggestions for how we can do this better, please don't hesitate to let us know.